Debating in Denver, President Obama and Governor Mitt Romney took the stage last night for the first presidential matchup.
Study or sleep, the question most students are asking themselves during midterms.
And ready for anything, one junior high takes safety drills to a new level with hallways of smoke and shooting blanks. I'm Lauren Simpson.
And I'm Sean Gordon. It's Thursday, October 4th, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
The dust clouds are finally starting to settle in Denver, where Governor Mitt Romney took on President Obama in the first presidential debate. 11 News reporter Alexis Flake is in the Mile High City. Alexis, how did they do going head-to-head?
For the first time, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney met on the same stage with the same audience, fielding the same questions, but their answers highlighted their differences. The first debate of election season sets the tone for the last 4 weeks of a long haul for the Oval Office, with each candidate trying to push the country in a different direction.
You've been president 4 years. You said you cut the deficit in half. It's now 4 years later. We still have trillion-dollar deficits. The CBO says we'll have a trillion-dollar deficit. Obamacare's on my list. I apologize, Mr. President. I use that term with all respect, by the way.
We should go back to the rates that we had when Bill Clinton was president, when we created 23 million new jobs, went from deficit to surplus, and created a whole lot of millionaires to boot.
Candidates spent the majority of the debate vocalizing their views on the economy, taxes, and health care. Things heated up when each candidate pinpointed flaws in the other's argument.
Mr. President, you're entitled as a president to your own airplane and to your own house, but not to your own facts.
And claiming that their opponent wasn't sticking to his original platform.
For 18 months, he's been running on this tax plan. And now, 5 weeks before the election, he's saying that his big, bold idea is never mind.
A big event like this brings out the big wigs from both parties. This morning, I got to spend a few minutes with Senator Orrin Hatch to get his reaction to the debate. Okay, Senator Hatch, thank you for taking a minute to talk to us today. And give us your first impressions of last night's debate.
Well, I thought Mitt did it extremely well. The president was off form. He was defensive all night long. And I think that there's good reason for it, because I thought Mitt summed it up when he talked about trickle-down government. Because that's what they believe in. They believe that government's the last answer to everything, that more and more taxes will help pay for everything, that somehow or other they're better at taking care of the poor. Hey, they got all these programs and not one of them is doing what it should be doing for the poor. But there's now coming a begrudging respect for Governor Romney. They can see he's brilliant. He knows what he's talking about. He's been successful at whatever he's done.
You are in a Senate race as well right now.
Right.
And does Mitt's success help you in your race back in Utah?
Well, of course it does. I was the only one he endorsed pre-primary on television. And we've been friends for a long time. I've worked with him and helped him, and he's helped me. And yeah, he's been a wonderful asset as a friend. They have a wonderful family. You don't have to worry about scandals with regard to the Romneys. They've lived really good lives, and they're really good people.
Well, we know where Senator Hatch stands on the debate, but what about the undecided voter? The answer is a subjective one, but most people are saying that Romney won by as much as a 2/3 margin. To help us better understand the debate, we have political science major Caitlin Stolworthy, who's also an analyst on our Vote Utah 2012 election team. So Caitlin, break it down for us. What did the candidates do well last night?
Well, I think that both candidates entered the debate very strong. They knew what their weaknesses were, and they made up for those on stage, which is why I think we found Governor Romney talking so much about the middle class. He wanted to put their minds at ease, assure them that he hadn't forgotten them. And I think that's also why we saw President Obama talk so much about tax reform and the deficit, in an effort to prove that he knows a lot about those subjects and that he's just as capable as Mitt Romney at fixing the economy.
And what did they maybe not do so well?
Well, I think that in this case, some of their strengths became their weaknesses. Mitt Romney's a very analytical speaker and thinker, and that helped him in the fact that he was able to lay out step-by-step plans and processes for problem-solving issues like the economy and Medicare reform. But it also distances him from the voters because he doesn't appeal to their emotions as well. He's not as personable as President Obama. President Obama is very charismatic, and he's great at appealing to the ideals and the emotions of the voters and empowering them to go and vote. But I think that his answers while emotionally appealing, weren't as analytical as Mitt Romney's, and so there weren't solutions that were easy to understand and easy to follow. It wasn't as cut and dry.
Analyst Caitlin Stolworthy, thank you. The presidential candidates get to take a break for a bit while their running mates prepare for the vice presidential debate in Kentucky next Thursday. In Denver, Alexis Flake, 11 News.
Thanks, Alexis. We're looking forward to November 6th.
And looking at local news, the man who allegedly shot and killed a prison guard during an escape in 2007 appeared in court to state his plea. 33-year-old Curtis Allgaier pled guilty to disarming and killing corrections officer Stephen Anderson when he was being escorted to a doctor's appointment. He's expected to get life in prison without the possibility of parole. And police are searching for a man they say attacked a woman with a knife in Sandy. The homeless man attacked the woman when she left a track station. She managed to escape and called 911, but the man was gone before police arrived. The woman describes her attacker as a male in his 30s with blonde hair and wearing an orange hooded sweatshirt. Police consider him armed and dangerous.
You can find the trophy for the 2011 high school football championship in the hallways of Timpview High. But now the school has to give it back. Principals in Region 8 met Tuesday night and decided to strip the school of its title because the team used an ineligible player. The decision means the championship title now goes to Maple Mountain High School. When 11 News at noon returns. Getting A's or catching Z's? Students are having to pick between getting to bed on time or spending some extra hours in the library.
And flying for free. Find out why one airline will be giving away international flights come November when we...
Some students probably wish their days were longer than 24 hours so they could get a good night's sleep. 11 News reporter Sarah Clark tells us how some BYU students find balance between study and sleep.
Some students have tricks to get more sleep and stop yawning in class.
I just try to be more productive throughout the day, and so that way I'm able to get more sleep.
But during midterms, it just seems too hard sometimes.
Anytime there's a test, the sleep cuts down by at least a couple hours.
Experts say it's important for college students to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep so they can perform well at school.
If you skip sleep, you're not retaining as much information as you would sleeping.
Experts say that to get a better night's rest, we should sleep in complete darkness.
Other tips doctors say we can do to get a good sleep are keeping bed routines, exercise regularly, and have a good diet. Teachers say falling asleep in class because of lack of sleep can get distracting at times, but some of them take it with a great sense of humor.
If I see more than 2 people asleep at the same time, I just suddenly all go, bah! And just watch them jump out of their chairs.
On the BYU campus, Sarah Clark, 11 News.
Experts also say that cramming to study everything in one night isn't helpful. They recommend that students study earlier to be awake and alert during exams.
JetBlue can help you leave the country for free in November if the election doesn't go your way. A Washington school district practices a new type of safety drill and alligator pool parties in Florida. Now it's time for a look at news from across the nation. Want to get out of the country if your presidential candidate loses? JetBlue's new marketing campaign called Election Protection is giving away more than 1,000 round-trip tickets to more than a dozen countries. All you have to do for a chance to win the free tickets is choose a presidential candidate on their website and be on the losing side. And a Tacoma school is practicing a new safety drill in their district, one for school shootings. An officer disguised as an intruder breaks into the school and the chaos begins. Teachers and students practice their protocol as police and SWAT overtake the building. Even after 6 years of practice, police say they are still learning and improving. And bringing alligators to a pool party is the new fad in Florida. An alligator wrangler tapes the gator's mouth shut so the kids can swim, pet, and play with their new friend in a controlled setting. Animal activists express their concern for the animal's safety, so the parties are suspended until the owner checks to make sure he is following FWC guidelines for safety. And that's your look at news from across the nation. Lauren?
Thanks, Sean. If you have a Facebook account, you're one in a billion. The social network announced this morning more than 1 billion people are now using Facebook, meaning 1 out of every 7 people on the planet has an account. Most of the new users live outside North America, where growth is starting to level off. Facebook says the number of users has more than doubled in the last 2 years. And Ariel, it's starting to feel like fall outside, nice and chilly in the mornings. What weather can we look forward to this week?
You know what, we're seeing some drop temperatures, but we'll give you more of that information when we return. Your 11 News weather when we get back. It's a beautiful day here in Provo, and as you can see behind me, we have definitely some sun and blue skies, but we're going to see some clouds coming in later on today. Where we're standing currently in Provo, we're at about 46 degrees with about a 46% humidity and wind speed of 6. And you'd be surprised how much that wind can make a difference in the temperature. But it's been a little chillier this morning, but our temperatures are going to get up for today. What to expect tonight? We're going to have mostly clear skies and be at about 42. So about where we started off this morning, but we're going to be a little lower tonight. And like I said, mostly clear skies. And our sunset's getting earlier and earlier. So for example, for the football game this weekend, it's going to be a little darker. Well, it's going to get darker sooner. So you're going to want to take that jacket and be out ready for being out in the stadium in the dark when it's get a little chilly. This week, well today, it's going to be cooler temperatures. We're going to see some hard freezes possibly around the Wasatch Mountain area and the Uinta Mountains. But for sure this weekend, hard freezes, 5 to 10 degrees cooler than we've been experiencing. So not too much, but cooler than we've been experiencing. And taking a look at the bigger picture. As we look across the state, the country, we have a storm system coming in that it's going to come around like this and out of eastern Utah. It started up here, but it will come up around here and this way, exit the state this way. That's why we've been seeing the cooler temperatures and from the northern and eastern parts of the state. Highs across the state, we have Logan at 65 and Provo at 72. Nephi at 72 as well, but St. George pretty normal for what we've been seeing and what we should be expecting at this time. But the rest of the state, typical seasonal temperatures that we should be expecting to see for fall temperatures. High 5-day Dixie forecast. We're going to have sun throughout the week, a little cloudy, but 89, 87, so upper to mid 80s for St. George down there, and then a little cooler off in the evenings, but still sunny and beautiful as always down in Dixie. Our northern day 5-day forecast. We're also going to be seeing some sun and some clouds, but like I said, a drop in the temperatures from what we've been used to, 10 to 15 degrees cooler. But so we're going to have good weather for the weekend for General Conference and the football game. I'm not worried.
Sounds like we need those blue jackets then for the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, blue jackets. Go Cougars.
Exactly. Thanks, Ariel.
Yeah.
But yesterday wasn't about football. It was about baseball, right, Clint?
Yeah, the playoff picture was pretty crazy. Things were going on, but they finally figured itself out. So we'll be seeing that in the next little bit. Next on sports, Triple Crown. One baseball player gets to wear a crown that hasn't been worn in almost half a century. And double trouble. Think a full schedule is hard? This athlete balances 2 sports and a full course load. Sports is next. It hasn't been done since 1967, but after 45 years, Miguel Cabrera has won the Triple Crown of baseball. Cabrera had a slim lead in 2 of the 3 categories going into the last game of the season. He pulled off the spectacular feat despite going 0-2 last night against the Kansas City Royals. He beat Mike Trout by .004% batting average and beat 2 players by 1 home run. Cabrera's stacked final stat line was a .330 batting average with 44 home runs and 139 RBIs. And after an exciting last few weeks, MLB's playoff picture is finally set. Wildcard games start this Friday as the St. Louis Cardinals square off against the Atlanta Braves at 5 p.m. and the Baltimore Orioles take on Texas Rangers at 8:30 that night. Hobson hoops, 6'7" Jennifer Hampson is a rare student athlete at BYU. London Clausen took a trip over to the Smith Fieldhouse to tell us why this superstar is so unique.
Whether it's getting the ball over or through the net, playing collegiate basketball and volleyball for Jennifer Hampson has always been a passion.
But at the senior year in high school, I finally loved it, and I didn't know. I was torn. My heart was torn between which sport, and so I decided to try to go for both, and so I did.
Being a Division I athlete can be very time-consuming, especially playing two sports. Hampson knows that she cannot drop the ball on the court or in the classroom.
You know, it's hard getting everything to work together and stuff for sure, but I don't know, my professors really work with me, and you know, this is a great school who supports their athletes, and so you know, I'm able to get everything done that I need to, and so I've always done it, and so it's just how it is.
From August to March, Hampson practices at least 4 hours a day, except for Sundays. That's 912 hours on the court.
Obviously it gets tiring, but I don't know, that's the point. You gotta try to be smart about your body, and I try to take care of it, ice and stuff, but it's doing well so far.
With an almost undefeated volleyball season in the works, this one-woman duo is ready to drop the knee pads, put on the Air Jordans, and lead her second team to even more success this year. In the Smith Fieldhouse, London Clausen, 11 News.
Hampson says that her main focus is on volleyball until the basketball season starts in November. You can see her next on court when the Lady Cougars play against Portland on October 11th. Continuing with women's volleyball, the Cougars look to get back on track after their first loss of the season, a disappointing 3-1 defeat at the hands of St. Mary's. BYU had racked up 15 wins before the loss and fell to number 2 in the WCC rankings. They can right the ship tonight in Los Angeles as they take on the Lions of Loyola Marymount. Women's soccer continues its torrid play tomorrow versus number 21 Santa Clara. The Cougars are 11-1 on the season and went undefeated in September. They have taken down 3 ranked teams already and hope to make Santa Clara their next victim. The Lady Cougars have outscored their opponents 26-6 so far this season, highlighting a balanced attack with 8 players that have scored at least 1 goal. The NBA set penalties for a new anti-flopping rule starting this season. The league determined that players were trying to trick referees into calls that weren't actually fouls. Fines will reach up to $30,000 for repeat offenders and may also lead to suspensions. Many individual players support the rule, but the NBA Players Association will oppose it with legal action, citing that the players were not included in the decision-making process.
Man, I wish they'd start calling soccer like that.
I gotta agree.
Definitely would clean it up. That's
I think it's even worse in soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks. Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Clint. And still to come at 11 News at noon, presidential pitch, a different kind of race during the election season, has mascots sprinting for the finish. We'll be
And in the spirit of the presidential race, the men from Mount Rushmore take to the field. Some of America's favorite former presidents laced up and raced around the stadium at the Phillies Nationals game Wednesday evening. The race was close and the competition fierce, but Teddy Roosevelt took home the victory for the first time ever. The victory marked the Nats also earning their first postseason bid since moving to D.C. in 2005. This brings Teddy's record to 1 in 525 since 2006.
And he didn't even need a horse to do it. Well, that's 11 News at noon for Thursday, October 4th.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for watching and have a great afternoon.